Hi, my name is Lisa Mahoney, and I do two things that I really like. I love painting in the studio, so here's one of my studio paintings. But the other thing I like doing is plein air painting. Now, I love studio painting, and I like plein air, but I find it really necessary to do plein air in order to help me with my studio work. So that is one of the great reasons for doing plein air. The other is that it's social, and I need to be social. So I go out once a week on Thursdays. My group that I co-host along with Laura Jesperson is Plein Air Thursday, and we paint in and around Ventura County. So if you look for us on Facebook, we're Plein Air Thursday Ventura County. So we're going tomorrow to Surfers Point at 4 p.m. and I'm going to show you what I'm going to take. So hopefully this will help you guys out who ask questions like, what do I take for plein air, and how do I start, and what do I need? So first of all, you're going to need a hat. So our sun protection is really a big deal, and as you can see, I'm taking this right now in the shade because that is what I try to always do, is paint in the shade. Now, when that's not possible, I will bring an umbrella, and depending on at the beach, it's usually very windy, so sometimes my only option is a black umbrella, which I hold in my right hand, and I will be painting because acrylic dries really fast, so I need to have shade always on my palette and on my canvas so I can work. So, so far in your kit is one hat, one umbrella. I actually have a series of umbrellas. I have one that I can stake into the sand, which is by Shade Buddy. And I have another one, which is attaches to the easel and can go in multiple positions. So those are two of the ones that I have, and my favorite is the one that stakes into the ground, Shade Buddy, because it leaves a big amount of shade. The second one is the one that attaches to the easel because I can angle it against the sun. But sometimes when it's so windy at the beach, I can use neither, and I have to rely on this one. So that's my pitch. So let's open my bag and see what I've packed in here. Okay, so this is Trolley Dolly, is the company that makes this. Let's see how clever I am if I put my this in the top. Okay, here it is. So clamp this to the handle. Okay. Now I really like this setup because I can carry everything in here except for my palette, and because I'm acrylic, I have to carry my palette flat because I will already have it loaded and ready to go. So here we go. So here's the first thing. This is a Slick U8000. So this is an awesome tripod. I've gone through many tripods, and this one is the best. So this one was suggested by Art Box and Panel, which is where I got my setup from, and I'm so glad they suggested it because it really works. So I'm gonna move this around here. This is how I have it set. All right, one thing I bring is my tube paint with me. So I have a palette that I like using, and colors that I like using, and I'll change the colors sometimes for what I'm painting. So just if I'm painting bright flowers, I'll bring out bright pinks and magentas. Okay, so here is some of the stuff. I'm not talking about it yet because the first thing I'm going to do is talk about this easel from Art Box and Panel. Now it's not the prettiest because I've drilled holes into it, but I find it makes it a lot easier for me. And they've got the company website right on the box, Art Box and Panel, and it simply attaches to your easel like this. Now this is revolutionary for me because it allows me to not worry about this or this moving at all. It's really stable and I just love it. So there we go. I'm gonna open it up, and I don't know if you can see what I've got in here. Okay, you can kind of see what I've got in here, so I'm just gonna move in closer to show you some of the things I have. One of the most important things is this. I've already got it on my face, so I'm gonna make sure to put it on my arms, my chest, and yeah, I do this every time, so I'm gonna try and keep it in my box because that's the first thing you should do, because California has crazy UV indexes, and my shirt's pretty thin, so I'm gonna even put it on my shoulders because I really hate burning, and that's what I do a lot of if I'm not smart. Okay, now another thing I will have, usually it's pretty windy at the beach, so it's cool enough, and I will wear this. It's just another layer of sun protection, so I bring this with me always, and I'll even keep a jacket in the car and a sweater in the car, and then I'll even keep something like a couple of t-shirts in the car, just so I can change and feel nice. I will even keep a nice dress in the car. That's one thing I have to pack, because sometimes you go out to dinner afterwards and you don't want to look like a bum. So that's that. So I'm gonna take this off now because right now I'm in Fillmore and it is hot. It is exactly 86 degrees. So put this off to the side. Okay, here are some of the things I have in here. Now I have brushes that I take with me. These are my detail brushes. Okay. Actually, I'm going to start with, so this is what I will take with me, is this brush holder. Now it's PCV piping, and I love it because it also came from Art Box and Panel, but it keeps my brushes really nice and secure, and it also attaches to the easel. So let's see, I'll have to pull out so you can see that. There we go. So it's attached to the easel right now, and that is really awesome. So the other thing that attaches to this is where your canvas or your board sits, and this is really great because it takes me seconds to set this up instead of doing a lot of fiddling. So the less fiddling I have to do, the happier I am. And put this so straight. And I like using canvases, but they are difficult to use the outdoors, because a lot of times the light will shine through, and for acrylics they're not as thick as oil, so you have to take into consideration that. So here we go, here's my lovely white panel. Now I don't paint on a white panel because it's just too there's too much glare that comes back and messes you up. So what I'll do is I'll tone this. That'll be one of the next steps. Here's my trash bag, and I just tie it onto the front here. Keep it for trash. Okay. So yeah, so I'm almost set up, and I've got this. So I've got a little viewfinder, so I can look through it and capture a scene, and it's got markings on the side here that tell you what size it is, and this is really helpful. You can just slide it up to, well, this is a square, so I'm just going to slide it all the way down so it makes a square, and then I can pick something to paint, and it helps because a lot of times your eye is just moving all over the place. You have a horrible time focusing or settling down. At least I do. I have a very hard time settling down. So these are some of my tips and tricks that I employ so I can get to painting and stop just being overexcited. Okay, so there's that. These are some of my favorite tools. These are color shapers, and they make really nice drag marks or cut marks, so I like those. I have a grayscale, and how you use this is, say there's a color you can't figure out or a value you can't figure out. So I'm going to look off at some flowers and see what they are, and it comes out pretty. So you just slide it around until you match the value of what you've got. Okay, so it's darker, so it's a value 6. Now, when I would just look at it, I would think maybe it's a value 9 or 8. You always think it's like so much brighter than it is, or so much darker than it is. So this little tool helps. Here are my little brushes, and those don't fit in this great brush holder. Okay, another thing I bring is palette knives. Now, sometimes I will get frustrated with my brushes. I'm just not like in the headspace for brushes, and I want to work really fast. Well, when I have these with me, I can just switch over to these and exclusively use these. So that's that. I like to have options. I guess that's one of the things that I like. A little spray bottle. I use distilled water because it has no impurities in it, so I just keep filling up this I Clear bottle. And yeah, so always recycling. And here is my palette to be. Okay, so this is the Masterson Stay Wet palette, and I got the largest setup from Art Box and Panel because it fits in there. So this is really, really helpful for me as an acrylic artist to have this. Now, if you're using oil, I have a glass plate in here with a razor blade, and you can just mix right on that and not have to worry about spraying and everything. But oil paint destroyed my lungs, so I can no longer use oil paint. Very sad, but I would rather live than keep forcing myself to use the medium. So yeah, luckily my lungs after 2 years have recovered, and I no longer have a funny voice or gravelly voice. So yeah, that's it. You gotta use what you're comfortable with. And so yes, so here's my setup so far, and then right before I'm about to start, so I'm all set up now, and I have I start with this. So once I'm all set up, I've got shade set up, I've got my tools laid out, I have all my paints in this bag, and I'll put out the ones that I only need. So it usually consists of 2 yellows, 2 blues, 2 reds, and 2 grays, and a mixing white. So yeah, there you go. Now the way I start off, before I even start painting, and this is hard for me because I really don't like to do this, but it's the paintings come out better, so I should love to do this. So I start with my grayscale markers and a marker marker paper, and then I'm going to pick out, so one, which is the lightest, is just the white paper. So I start off with 3, 5, and 9. So I'm just going to use 3 out of these. Okay, and so I make sketches in here, and I use Tombow brush pens, and let's see, here I'll show you. So I don't even really worry about, you know, making them perfect. You see on Instagram and all sorts of things of people making perfect renderings and everything. For me, it's just a value study, so I want to do that, but I don't want to spend, you know, like a ton of time on it. I just want to have it so I can figure out what I'm painting. So today or tomorrow, what we're going to be painting is this little beach scene. So it's at low tide tomorrow, and I'm very excited because I want to paint the rocks and sand, the pier in the distance, and the buildings on it. Now, I made the pier way too dark, and so that's one of the things that helps with a value study, is making it, you know, kind of planning out what you're doing. I will make another one when I'm there, because this is proving to be so useful. So this is a no town, which is just using black and white. So that's why this is only in 2 values. So there you go. All right. So for tomorrow, I'm getting ready. I'm gonna tone my paper first of all. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna move this color. Actually, this color's done. Great. So I've got my acrylic already started in the bag. Oh, and another thing is I don't use paper towels because I go through a million of them. So I will use instead cut up pieces of towel. Now I know this sounds crazy, like how could you possibly use it, you know, a cut up towel, but when I'm cleaning off my palette knife or my brush, I just I can wipe in the same place and it's absolutely fine. So I'm gonna start prepping this to get ready to paint. So it's dried out a little bit, and put some water in here. Now the good thing about doing this the day before is that I will have plenty of time to get this packed in the car tonight, so I won't stress about it. And that's one of the things you're trying to do always for painting, is just keep stress free and work on, you know, being positive. Now that's, I would say that's the first thing to put in your toolbox, is being positive. So, you know, there's going to be better painters than you, or worse painters. It doesn't really matter, because you're on your own journey. And I have to remind myself of that sometimes, because I always want my paintings to be farther along. I'm pretty happy with them, though. Actually, they're getting to a point where I'm happy with them. But you know, start off simply. If you're just starting out, you don't need a big setup like this. You can even use a small setup like this. This attaches to a tripod also, or you can put it on your lap, or you can keep it on a tabletop. So this has a lot of options, and here are, it's a 5x7 box, so there's, I've brought little tiny canvases on cardboard, and once I seal them, they will last forever. So here's one of my paintings that I did on this box, and I did this on location, and so it works out really great. Now for acrylic, when I'm using this little setup, I have to still have some kind of like a box like this, or I'm painting like crazy. I'm painting super fast, and I'm painting on the backside of aluminum foil. So I'll put out little things of paint and then just paint very quickly. So yeah, so that's what you can do, is use the least amount of colors you can get away with. So yellow, red, blue, green if you want. That's a lot of times how I'll set up. And then white, and I also use black because I like to be able to tone colors down, just like on your printer. So that's how I think of it, is you know, adding white to it cools it, adding black tones it down. So I think that's everything that I have to tell you. Okay, happy painting, everyone.